Next is morality. If atheism is true, then that would also mean that there is no morality. There's no right or wrong.
No, there's still right and wrong. Those are inherently subjective terms that you're using there. I think what you mean is absolute rights and wrongs. And generally, that's what Christians are talking about whenever they are discussing morality, is absolute morality. I would definitely say that we have subjective or relative morality, and relative in the sense of, it's specific to the time and place that we live in, and we can use our own moral foundations to judge other people's moral actions as right or wrong. That's still all inherently subjective. So no, under atheism, it wouldn't be that morality doesn't exist. It would be that absolute morality doesn't exist. And I really don't think that does exist.
That means that if I was to wrong you, whether it was murder or steal, then I really shouldn't be prosecuted.
Oh, I'm sorry. That took me a second to process, but you realize that those are laws of the land, right? Like, sure, we can make these moral decisions about stealing and all that, but I feel like everything that you listed is subject to nuances of the context. If there's some kind of shortage of food and a guy steals food in order to feed his family, is that morally wrong? No, I would say that that's morally good or neutral. A lot of the things that Christians point out as morally wrong or bad are really just morally neutral or good. So it's not that we shouldn't prosecute people, because we should definitely prosecute people who break the law, but it's about making these moral decisions, and it's all very dependent upon context and your own moral foundation.
As there is no moral law. But we know that through history and every culture, there has been some form of moral law. Scripture discusses this in Romans 2:14 through 15, and it says this: even Gentiles who do not have God's law, written law, show that they know it when they instinctively obey it, even without having heard it. They demonstrate that God's law is written in their hearts, for their own conscience and thoughts either accuse them or tell them that they are doing right.
Well, so what that passage right there is literally pointing out is that societies have general moral foundations. Whenever this group, the Israelites or the Christians, see another group that also thinks that it's wrong to kill a motherfucker in the streets, the Christians are like, oh, so you're stealing from our God in order to have a moral foundation. Or at least that's what modern Christians do. And so it just becomes this baseless claim of, oh, well, they have the God's laws written on their hearts too, when really it's just a common moral foundation. Given that a group of people living in a society, even as big as the United States is now, we have some semblance of a shared moral foundation. Ultimately, we all have our own subjective moral foundations, but we do have this general sense of how to survive in a society. And that includes this shared moral foundation. And that's why these large societies have been successful in the past. Because there's some basic moral foundation that allows for people to live together. But the main point is that is definitely not tied to a God.
With atheism, there is no answer to morality, and the true atheist should have no moral compass.
A true atheist. Now you're trying to gatekeep atheism? What the fuck, man? No. A true atheist is not going to just be absent of morality or have no morality whatsoever. That's just fucking ridiculous to even suggest.
Last is destiny. There is no destiny. In atheism, if we die, as a friend of mine unfortunately put it, the credits simply roll and that's it. We cease to exist.
I'm fine with that. I get that, because I have no evidence whatsoever to suggest that there is an afterlife. So I don't know why I should believe in an afterlife if there's no evidence of an afterlife. Adding an afterlife tacked on to the end of that kind of diminishes the life that we have now, don't you think? Because like this afterlife is infinite, right? It's never ending. And the more that you think about it, the smaller and smaller our time on this earth seems to be. So it really does seem quite pointless, this life on this earth, when we have this eternity afterwards that's supposed to be just, awesome as fuck.
So, if Christians, we are wrong about Christianity, we simply die and cease to exist. But if
No. Let me stop you right here before you go to the but part, because it's not just that simple. If Christians are wrong, it's not just, oh, you die and cease to exist. This is kind of a Pascal's wager. He's not directly talking about Pascal's wager, but this is a Pascal's wager. Because what if you're wrong? What if Christianity's wrong, but Islam is right? You're still going to hell. What if another religion is correct? Let's say that they have a hell-based religion. You're going to their hell. And then what about other denominations of Christianity? If you're a Presbyterian, but it's really the Catholic God, then are you going to hell? You could be. Presbyterian and Baptist? Could you be going to hell? Maybe. You don't know. All right, continue with the but.
Christianity is true, then every person who did not choose Christ will live an eternity separated from Jesus.
Well, yes. If the Christian God is the true God and the Christian heaven is the one that exists, then yes, we will spend eternity being separated from Jesus. Honestly, I don't want to spend eternity sucking that dick.
Atheism only really answers the first question, but with shaky evidence to back up its claim.
With shaky evidence? I haven't provided any evidence that there's no God. I've simply said that I don't believe a God exists. Nobody has given evidence. Like, I can provide evidence why your God's not real and doesn't exist, because I'm very Gnostic on that particular definition. But, I mean, as far as God existing in general, we don't have anything to really... we don't have any evidence that suggests that there is no God. There are some harder atheists out there that feel like they can prove that a God doesn't exist in any kind of capacity, but I'm not a hard atheist. I'm a soft atheist or an agnostic atheist.